Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing these gorgeous boho knotless braids. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I do have a video on me already pre-parting my hair, so if you guys are interested, that will be linked in the description box down below. And so let's go ahead and get into this process. So these are the products that I will be using to braid my hair. This was a very lengthy process, y'all, so y'all are just gonna have to bear with me. This video is kind of all over the place. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So I first want to speak on the type of hair that I am going to be using. I did purchase this hair off of Amazon. This is the Water Wave bulk human hair. I purchased a total of 4 packs, and in each pack there's 2 bundles that come in each pack. That right there that you see is the 16-inch. I did purchase 2 lengths, and then this one is the 18-inch. So in each pack comes with 2. So I purchased 2 packs of the 18-inch and 2 packs of the 16-inch. And so I had a total of 8 bundles. I only ended up using about 3 packs, which equals to about 5.5 to 6 bundles. So I had about a little over 2 bundles left over. So if you guys are interested, the link to this curly bulk hair will be in the description box down below and also on my Amazon storefront. So let's go ahead and get into the braiding process. So I've already done the back 2 rows because those 2 rows are the hardest. And so now I am starting to braid. So I take 3 strands of hair, I'm crossing it over, and I start adding the braiding hair immediately. So between my index finger and my thumb, I am holding my hair, and on my right hand, I am taking the braiding hair and I am adding it in between my index finger and my thumb, and then I'm just braiding as normal. I am going to explain this process again, but I just want you guys to see it. And then in the next clip, I will show you how I do it again and also how I add the curly hair pieces. Okay guys, so this is the second day. I wanted to show you guys again how I do the braids or start the braids off on the back of my head, because I do braid a little bit differently once I go to the front part. And I'm also going to show you guys the difference between adding the braiding hair immediately versus adding the braiding hair after you braid it down 1 or 2 times. So you guys will see the difference. So with this section or braid that I'm doing here, I start adding the braid immediately. I just cross over once and then I add the braid. I cross over 1, 2, and then I start adding the braid again. I believe with this one I added about 3 pieces, and then I braid down as normal. Now with this one, you guys will see the difference between me adding it immediately versus me adding it after I braid it down. So if you guys see right there, I just braided it down like 3 times and then I started adding. Okay, you guys will see the difference. I am going to compare the 2. So with this one, I also added 3 pieces, I believe, either 3 or 4. And the amount of pieces also depends on the amount of hair. The back part towards my nape area, my hair is a lot thinner. And then, of course, with the middle part, my hair is a lot thicker. So if you guys can see, there is a difference in the 2. That one is a lot thinner at the root versus the other one where it's a lot thicker, because I started adding the braid or the braiding hair immediately with the other one. And I did most of my braids like that because I do find that it does last longer when I start adding the braiding hair immediately versus me braiding 1, 2, or 3 times and then adding the braiding hair. So I'm just comparing the 2, that way you guys can see the difference of me adding the braiding hair immediately versus me braiding down a couple of times and then adding the braiding hair. Okay, now this is the front part. I didn't show you guys, the process in the back because I just feel like it's just going to be repetitive. So this is the front part. I do braid a little bit differently than how I braid in the back when I'm doing the back part or the middle part of my head. Because of how my head is positioned and how my hands are positioned when I'm braiding. So with the front part, I'm taking 3 sections of my hair. I'm splitting my hair or that section in 3 sections. And sorry it's a little bit blurry. The camera was focusing on me in the mirror because I do have a mirror behind me so I can see the back part of my head. So I take 3 strands and now I am braiding, I believe this is overhand. No, this is underhand. Okay, so I'm braiding underhand. And so if you guys saw how I started to add that first piece of braiding hair, I'm going to show you guys again. So that piece is loose. I'm not holding that piece. My right hand is free. I'm going to take the braiding hair and my left hand, where my index finger and my thumb is, I am going to go I'm gonna go ahead and take the braiding hair, put it in there. I'm going to take my pointer finger, push it up so that way it's well blended, and then I'm going to start braiding one more time. And again, excuse the blurriness. That part that you see is free. I'm taking the braiding hair, I'm using my middle finger, my index finger, my thumb to grab it. I'm pushing it up and then I'm braiding as normal. I'm going to continue to braid down. I'm just checking to make sure that it is tight. And I like to add my braiding hair as soon as possible because I don't really like the transition of it being like really skinny and then going fat. I like it to have majority of the density in the beginning of the braid. And now I am going to add my first curly piece. So the loose part of the curly piece, I'm going to go ahead and add it the same way how I am adding the braiding hair. I'm taking it, I'm going to grab it put it between my index finger and my thumb, that middle strand, and then I'm going to go ahead and cross over. I'm going to push it up and then I'm going to cross over. 1, 2, and 3. So I crossed it over and now I'm going to go ahead and take that loose part and I am going to either separate it, put it in between my mouth because this is hair that I purchased, or if you guys don't want to do that, you guys can clip it away. And so that's what I did for the purpose of the video. I clipped it away and then I am going to continue braiding as normal. So that's how you add the curly pieces. And so I'm going to continue to add the curly pieces. I added around 5 or 6 curly pieces because I wanted it to be super full, which I actually regretted it because it was super heavy. And so I'm going to show you guys one more time. That part is free. I have the other 2 strands in between my hand, my index finger, my thumb. And now I'm going to go ahead and grab the curly piece with my free hand. I'm taking the loose part of the curly piece and I'm going to add it or grab it or put it in between my index finger and my thumb where that middle piece of braiding hair is. And I am going to braid as normal. I'm going to use that part to kind of help me push it up so that way it's well blended. I'm going to cross over one time, cross over again for a second time, and then I'm going to cross over a third time. When I cross over that third time, that curly part is towards me, and so I am going to go ahead and clip that away. And then I'm just going to braid the rest as normal. I really hope you guys are understanding this because it's easier to watch it versus me explaining it. Now that loose part that you see here, you guys see I did have the opportunity to kind of feather it out a little bit so that way it blends in more, but it just takes so much time because there's so many curly pieces that I'm adding. So I just decided to take some of that lock and twist jam and just blend it in as I'm braiding. So you guys can just watch the rest of this clip, and then I'll be back with you all on how I add the curly pieces towards the end and how I seal it. Okay guys, so we have finally reached towards the end of the braid, and so I'm going to show you guys how I add the curly pieces. All right, so I am taking two separate curly pieces. I split them, and now what I'm doing here, I kind of feathered it out. I added some of that lock and twist jam to make it stick a little bit, and so I have two curly ends. And I am going to take the ends and combine those straight ends. I really hope this is making sense. So that way I can make like one curly piece. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, you guys, but that's why I said it's easier to watch it. So I'm going to combine it because the way how I'm going to add it, so that way, you know, it can blend. That's why I have to do it this way. You guys will see exactly what I'm talking about. So I made 3, and I'm doing this for every single braid. That's why I said that this was a very, very, very lengthy process. This took me 3 days to do. So now I am going to go ahead and continue to braid that. And now I'm going to show you guys how I add it. So I'm kind of going to add it the same way how I'm just adding regular braiding hair. Just making sure that all of the strands are even. And now I'm going to go ahead and take that first curly piece and just add it like how I'm adding, you know, regular braiding hair. So now on two ends I have curly pieces. It's not just, you know, one strand, it's 2 strands. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another curly piece so that way it's a lot fuller. So that one, where you see that braiding hair where there's no curly piece added, I'm going to go ahead and add another curly piece so that way all 3 strands have curly pieces on them. And then I am going to braid until I reach, you know, a good amount of braiding hair that is actually braided. So that way there's basically like just the feathered tips of the braiding hair that's left, so I can just go ahead and cut those off. And those little flyaways, I am going to go back in with scissors to just cut them off because those are just not laying down. Even with when I add the jam, it's just not laying down. So I don't want, you know, the curly ends to be as long. So this is where the 16-inch length of the curly hair comes in play. So now I combine them together, and now it looks like a beautiful curly end. And so how I seal it, I am going to be using nail glue to seal it. I know that there are some people where, you know, they tie it, they wrap it around, but I'm using nail glue. I'm not wrapping it around, I'm not tying it. I'm literally just holding the ends as tight as possible, and then I'm going to dab on some nail glue so that way all of the strands are glued together. And I just feel like this saves me a lot of time versus me wrapping it around or tying it, because this is already a long process. I don't want to do extra work that I don't have to do. And it worked fine. None of these strands or none of the braids came out or unraveled or anything like that. So do what works for you and what works for your client. I went ahead and added it on there and blew it just to make sure that it dried quickly and it is fully sealed. So now I am going to just pick out the ends of the braiding hair that you see that's straight, that's not blending in with the curly ends. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and just cut that bad boy off. and then cuts all of the flyaways or the parts that are sticking out of the braid. And that is it, y'all. So that is what the braid is looking like completed. That's how many pieces I added. I added about 5 or 6 pieces for each braid, or this one was probably 7, and that is what the braid is looking like. So this again was a very lengthy process. It takes me about 10 minutes to do each braid, just to make sure that everything is laying smooth, to cut everything, to make sure that everything is well blended. So yeah, if you guys made it this far in the video, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing and also commenting, and yeah, just continue to watch the video. So we have reached the last braid at this point. I was super excited. Y'all can see it on my face. So one more. So for this last braid, I actually braided underhand. I braided a different way because again of how my hand and my head was positioned. So you guys will see that I braided a little bit differently. Right now I'm just taking my baby hairs out because I'm not braiding those because I don't want to lose those. And you know, I just want some baby hairs in my braids. So that's why I'm taking those out. And then I'm just going to go ahead and finish this last braid. And then we are done, y'all. And we are finally done. This is what the hair is looking like. I'm showing you that everything is completed. This is what it's looking like before I dipped the ends. And yes, I did go ahead and dip the ends because this is human hair. And this is what the hair is looking like after I have dipped the ends. It looks so pretty, so gorgeous. I am super happy. But I will tell y'all, this hair was super heavy. And this is what it's looking like after about 2 days. These are the different styles that I did. So let me know what y'all think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something. Make sure you guys like, comment, and also subscribe to my channel. And I will see y'all in my next video. Always remember to stay beautiful. Mwah. Bye guys.